genre.
In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the Ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. Thank you for listening to Ideal Remake. We take movies that either have been, will be, or should be remade and talk about what the ideal version of that remake would be. And today, it's Morphin time! And my guest, tapping into the power of his podcasting totem, is Nick Jimenez. So, Nick, is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie a movie that has been, will be, or should be remade?
I think it should be remade.
Excellent. Because, strictly speaking, I don't think it has.
No, for sure. Like when I thought about Power Rangers, I specifically was like, I think the best way to do this episode is to like specifically remake the 1995 movie and not just like tackle the concept of Power Rangers the way that the 2017 movie did.
Yeah. Before we recorded this episode, I had to reach out to former guest of the podcast, Tanner Vogelsang, and I had to apologize to them because they are a huge Power Rangers and Super Sentai fan.
Wow. Oh, gosh.
And I had to say, like, Tanner, I'm recording this episode, but if you ever want to do a Power Rangers episode and just like get to the core of what Power Rangers is, that's what the 2017 version is. Nick and I are going to be dealing with a whole different thing.
That's a great idea. Just remake that movie.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like I don't have the time. I have become a bit of like a homework slut because of franchisography. We're just like, give me a reason. But I was like,
Yeah.
I can't get into the comic books right now. I can't get into the other spinoffs because it's like a very active franchise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like they have multiple seasons a year or something. I don't know.
But for our purposes, I think it's best if we focus on like the concept of remaking the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Yes. Agreed. So, I have to ask, what is your history with Power Rangers?
Wow,
I'm sorry, with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
For sure, thank you. I'm a consummate 90s kid, so of course this was like a big part of my childhood. I was a sucker for it. I fell hook, line, and sinker, and my parents' wallets paid for it.
Yeah, fair.
I had the action figures, the Halloween costumes. Were you in the same boat?
Oh, for sure. So I'm a little bit older than you, but I remember this is the only time. Certainly the first time. This is the first time that I was aware of something existing before it existed, and I was like 4 or 5 years old at the time. Because I remember the toys were out before the show was out. And they used to have these things that are still sitting in my closet back home in Tucson somewhere with all of my Megazords.
Nice.
But they had these things that were like these like proto Beyblades where you had this like little top with an image on it. You put it into a spinner and you would click it and it would just like a spinning top kind of thing. And I remember I had that and it was the Megazord and the Rangers and everything. And I had that and then the show came out. So I watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from jump when I was 5 years old. And I watched it for 10 years.
Because every year you had a new spinoff, a new adventure.
Yeah. For a while it was the core crew and then some of them left and then there were new ones. And then there was like, oh my God, it's Power Rangers Zeo. And then it was Turbocharge.
Power Rangers in space.
Yeah. And it was all this other stuff. And I think I was talking with you that I think I fell off finally either the season where Tommy came back as the Black Ranger training 3 other Rangers and he was like the Brontosaurus Ranger, or the season where they kept their Zords in marbles and all of the bad guys were ogres who were really proud of their horns.
Yeah, I think you hung on longer than me because like none of that rang any bells. I think my last one was like Galaxy Quest or Lightspeed Rescue.
Yeah. Was Lightspeed Rescue the one with the dude with the jewel in his forehead?
Oh gosh,
that might have been Galaxy Quest.
There was always always a weird space guy.
Yeah,
like a brooding space guy.
In Turbocharge, the weird space guy was just a child.
Oh, really? That was one where he grew, right? He was a little kid, and then he grew into an adult Blue Ranger.
Right, because, like, obviously the American version,
Of
it's a
course.
child playing the role, but, like, in the Japanese version,
Yeah.
it was an adult.
It's so crazy how as kids in the 90s, we had no context for any of that, and we just accepted it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, but it's one of those things that, like, just as, like, little bits and pieces trickle in, you're just like, "Oh, that's cool and exciting."
I don't know, and I think I was too young to be able to follow it consistently. Like, I
Mhm.
think I was talking with Andrew about this on DGT. You know, if your mom had to go to the grocery store or if you had a doctor's appointment, you would just miss it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so like there are big gaps in my Power Ranger lore because of that.
Well, here's the next question is, did you have a VCR at home? Because I remember there were a lot of things that I knew I would miss, but I got good enough at programming the VCR so I could record onto a VHS tape the episodes I would be missing.
That's a great question. The answer was like yes, I had a VCR and I didn't really start videotaping stuff until like high school,
Mhm.
but that reason, you know, that I had a VHS player and you know and tapes and stuff is why I had the second I was able to find a YouTube rip of the Power Rangers movie. Uh, Hard movie to rent and stream right now.
Yeah, we had the same thing. We also ended up watching it on YouTube, and I think we were, like, intending to pay for it, but it was just on YouTube and we didn't.
Yeah, for sure. I was because I wanted like, oh, do they have like an HD version or whatever? But no, I could not find it on like
Yeah, and
Apple or
it's so hard to look up Power Rangers because you just
right.
get decades of other information, and of course, the
No,
other
for sure.
shows have movies, so there is, like, a Turbo Force movie or this movie or that
Mhm.
movie.
So I think because of the reliability of I could just grab this tape from my shelf when I was a little kid and put it on and watch it whenever I wanted and watch it over and over again. So like in a way, this is kind of my Power Rangers. Like there's some differences in this. You know, like Rocky's not really in the show a lot. Aisha, like, but because like those characters aren't in the 2017 movie.
No, they're not. They're the ones that replaced Trini and Jason and,
Yeah,
Zach.
for sure. Zach, yeah, Adam. But like, dude, the second I put this on, it was like the Winter Soldier being activated. I remembered every line of dialogue and every cadence of every delivery of
That's
dialogue.
incredible.
Yeah, but it
I
was
remembered a
fun.
lot. I was surprised by how much I didn't remember. Like when
Mhm.
a space bikini lady showed up, I was like, I don't know who you are. And I clearly
Yeah,
was too young to appreciate you at the time.
you know, appreciate's a good word because it's like I had that thought of like, why didn't she make an impression on me as a kid? Because as an adult, I was shocked by how like revealing and like
Yeah.
90s her costume was.
Well, like you see this cloaked figure and you're like, "Oh, this person's going to be so cool." And then like the next scene she throws the cloak off and you're just like, "Oh, space bikini lady."
Space
Okay.
Bikini Lady? Is that what we're doing? I didn't know that was Power Rangers vibe.
It wasn't. And then like every single time they like framed around her, it was like they would be standing just framed so you could see as much of her as possible.
My mind immediately went to like what was the vibe like on set of
I
like
don't know. Hopefully not freezing cold.
it looks cold though. It does look cold. It looks like they're in
So cold.
Ireland or Scotland or something.
Well, they were on so many studio stages, like sound
For
stages
sure.
for that, and those things are freezing.
That's true too. But I think for some reason, I think the quarry, the rock quarry where the Tengu warriors are, I think that was like a genuine exterior,
Yeah, I
maybe.
think you're right. It is interesting because this also like is the first exclusively American Power Rangers thing made because everything else was like importing footage from Japan. This
Yeah.
one, it's all original footage.
There was a point where when they're out of their Power Ranger uniforms and they're wearing their clothes, Billy's
Mhm.
wearing this like sleeveless hoodie thing,
Yeah,
and he's jacked.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder if he had to get jacked for the first time for the movie, or did they ever do any martial arts in the show? It was so because I know
They
like
they
yeah,
did, but because they always had to like fight the putties a little bit before they had to go. It's Morphin time, and then like do stuff.
right. That's true. They have to always get a few licks in, and then it's like okay,
Yeah.
time to morphin time.
Although I also learned because when the first ooze monsters show up, the ones that like get decimated and turned back into goop, not the
Yeah.
Tengu. One of the people I was watching the movie with, Presley, whose last name I don't know, was like, "Oh, here are the putties." I was like, "Those aren't the putties; those are different things." He was like, "Oh, right." So in stunt terms, putties, which were the original things Rita Repulsa made out of, or Rita Repulsa's minion made out of clay,
Mhm.
like those were called putties, but because that was so iconic and so like just into your head as like, oh, this is how this type of fight works, of like just a bunch of like faceless guys. Now just
Yeah,
in stunt terms, whenever it's the heroes fighting a bunch of like faceless like monster guys, they're just referred to as putties.
that's perfect. Because you're right. They
Right.
100% are putties in this movie. They serve the same purpose of
Hmm.
just being like comical dolls that the Rangers can just like knock around and
Yeah.
do catchphrases at.
Although that said, when the Tengu like go fight the Rangers, and then they get scared off by space bikini lady, and then they get back to
Mhm.
Earth. When it turns out they can talk, flabbergasted.
Yeah, one has a John Wayne voice.
Does it? I
He's like,
didn't
"Yeah,
notice.
we tried to catch by the ravine. He fell down the river or something." One is like, there was a choice made.
Good. I love that. This movie is
Yeah.
very fun, but it was also like, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit less if I'd been watching on my own. So I watched it with Presley, Caitlin, who you've met and who's been a guest on my show before, and
Oh, cool.
Caitlin's boyfriend. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And it was just like fun, weirdly talking about like the Yellow Ranger in particular. There's a scene where they're going and chasing down those first like goo putties,
Mhm.
and when they're in their costume, I'm like, I don't remember the Yellow Ranger being that tall, because like the Yellow Ranger
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Morphin suit was like,
Aisha's kind of short. Yeah, yeah.
she is. So it was really weird. And like, so that scene's happening. It's clearly a different person in the suit just walking around. But then
Mhm.
later, when she gets her new suit and
Right.
whatever, and they animal morphin time or whatever. She's
Mhm.
out of the bear, and so like she finally gets her Power Rangers outfit. It's definitely her because it's much shorter. So just paying
Oh,
attention to the
that's
height was very
true.
funny.
That's a good catch. Yeah, you're right. Like it is kind of them. You kind of almost as an adult, you kind of catch it more in the performances.
Hmm. Yeah, it was fun. It's a ridiculous movie. It's not good, but it is fun.
Yeah, I kept thinking watching it, is this charming or did I just watch this a lot as a kid? There's just like a I don't know, there was such like a likability and like a
Yeah.
goofy, where I was like, this is nice. It's not too like it's not trying to be clever
Yeah, no,
or
you
yeah.
always talk about on how your show's about like there's just something inherently charming about a truly earnest movie. And I think that's what
Mhm.
this is.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's I think this is me getting older, but I was like, I think they just seem like good kids.
Yeah.
They're
I
just always
mean,
hanging out.
there's a lot of Fred, but that's fine.
Fred, the ultimate 90s kid.
The ultimate 90s kid, but also the one who's the actual hero.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, man, he kind of has a little, he kind of has an arc. It's kind of like the Dark Knight Rises of like, oh, he's inspired by the Rangers, and now he's being a hero himself.
Yeah. Like, so basically Ivan Ooze comes back and is like, it's taken over and has taken over Angel Grove, and like brainwashed all of Angel Grove's parents.
Mhm.
And when he's done with them, says, you can all go jump to your death. And they're like, yeah, great, we're on it. Which was A, dark, but B, and Fred's like, no. And like Fred machinates this whole way to save all the parents. Something that the
Mhm.
Power Rangers themselves were never aware of.
Never even, yeah. Oh, there's a part where they're okay. They a bunch of stuff happens. They steal a train or monorail, and it's like, or they commandeer it, and then the track's out, and so Tommy has to like fly his Eagle Zord and be the track for a second while it flies
Falcon
over.
Zord, continue.
Falcon Zord. Thank you so much. And Tommy's like, "Good luck, kids," and like, "Good luck."
You
Help,
don't know what
help,
they're doing. You
help
also
them.
don't know that they're kids. You can't see inside the
Yeah,
monorail.
a lot of questions. He's like, all right, I hope that works itself out.
I didn't even think about that. That's so weird.
It's very 90s move. The 90s loved it was all about like kids having to like rescue the grown-ups
Yeah. Yeah.
or like take matters into their own hands.
There is an argument to be made that this is singularly the most 90s movie.
You know what is like maybe the most 90s move in this movie that I don't think I
Yeah.
could have appreciated at the time? It's when Ivan Ooze's evil plot is to market cheap gunk in a plastic jar to kids.
Well, of course it is. He is goop that came out of an egg. He is literally silly putty.
Yeah, and it was the age of gack and silly putty. Remember, it was just a lot of like, ew, like those things where you
Yeah.
can make gummy bugs.
Well, it's creepy crawlies, which I did have
Yeah.
and was awesome. And it was just the same. It was an easy bake oven painted orange and green because it was
Yes.
for boys. But
Right. Oh, this is
it was literally an easy bake oven. But I did not know that at the time.
no, they're bugs. They're not for girls. They're for boys.
And also they're plastic, so don't eat them. But
Yeah, I never did. I always wanted to. Yeah, my parents were like, no, we'll buy you another Red Ranger before we buy you one of those things.
yeah, that was separate. Well, because I think we got it after I went over to David Kay's house and like
Mm-hmm.
had so much fun making creepy crawlies and oh, this thing's so cool, I love this. And so my parents got it for me too because I probably
Yeah,
wouldn't shut up about it.
there was always one friend who like, oh, you have all the stuff I don't have.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I remember in my head like certain friends had certain toys, so like, oh, I could go. I could go play N64 at Josh Offenhartz's house. I could go to
Right? Yeah. No, yeah. Like you had like an Xbox friend. You had a
yep.
PlayStation friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely yes. And but I remember like I got like a $10 a week allowance or something, and I would save it up because like all of the Megazords and everything cost $50, and it'd always be a big day when I finally made it to like $50 and be like, okay, let's go to Toys R Us so I can finally buy my Chex Notes Ninja Zord or Falcon Zord or oh man, now this is
That
gonna
was
bother me.
that was the diabolical thing about it was every year there would be a re-up and there would be new toys to buy.
Yeah,
Like they would
and
get new
I
outfits.
wanted to do it. The word I was looking for was Ninjor.
Ninjor.
So in the Power Rangers Ninja TV series, they don't get their powers from a space bikini lady. They get it from some blue suit guy named Ninjor,
Ninjor. Oh
who
my
also
gosh,
could
Sam.
become like a Zord, who was also kind of a Zord, because then like
Oh
he would
gosh.
get big, and then like on his back you'd hit a button and his head would flip, and he'd be like a red head.
I have a bad feeling. I'm about to Google him. But yep, I'm having a huge nostalgia rush right now. I haven't looked at this guy in 20 years.
Yeah, his
Crazy.
toy's sitting in my closet too.
What a great design. That big, chunky blue.
Well, it was always weird to me that like the movie was like it was a rehash, but in a different way from what the show was, which I guess is fine. It doesn't matter. But
That confused me as a kid too. Yeah, like is the ninja
it,
stuff, the carryover.
like in retrospect, with the knowledge I have now, it's a very Dragon Ball move because like Dragon Ball Z also would do that thing where it's like, okay, here's the whole Namek story arc, and now here's the
Right.
Cooler movie, which is basically the same thing but with an entirely different character.
Yeah. Aren't all the movies in DBZ like out of canon? Isn't that like the
Yes,
accepted thing? Okay.
with the exception of the movies in Dragon Ball Super.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to be bringing up Dragon Ball Super Broly later in this episode for reasons.
Can't wait.
But those movies are, well, I guess Resurrection F isn't because they did that. Broly is, and I think that's the only one that is.
Okay.
Oh no, there's a new one that came out recently that is too. To answer your question, yes, you're correct. A couple caveats.
Sure, yeah, but like back in the back in the day, like Dead Zone
Yeah,
and
correct.
Tree
Tree
of
of Might.
Might, classic.
And
Oh my gosh,
all of the other movies that I can list right now because of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, but won't because who's got the time?
have you done Dragon Ball yet on the show?
Yeah, Norman came on and we remade Dragon Ball. We did that last
Oh
season.
oh my gosh, I missed that one.
We
There's
did
a lot.
Dragon Ball Evolution, the live action one.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's a fun episode.
I had to listen
And
to that one for sure.
Norman's going to be on. Actually, he might be the next episode, and we're going to be remaking the original Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, cool, with Marlon Wayans.
Yeah.
I rented that one a lot.
I've never seen it, but obviously, like the Dungeons and Dragons movie is like out now as of recording this, as of like listening to this. So I'm definitely like behind, but it's like I still got to talk about it, and like Norman seems like the right guy to remake it with.
It's weird. It's a weird movie. It's like it almost has this vibe, Power Rangers, where you're like, this is fun. This movie isn't gonna hurt me, and then it gets like brutal for like
Cool.
no reason.
Great. I'm excited.
Oh,
So
man. Yeah, sorry.
the idea of Power Rangers is pretty superfluous. Like not superfluous. That's not the word I want. The word where it's well known.
Generic, vague.
No, I'm looking for like the thing where it's like oh, Power Rangers, and we all have an idea of it in our head. I can't think of the right word. Doesn't matter.
But it's concept. We're all this magical being. Well, there's that very Star Warsian text scroll at the beginning of the movie that I think Dulcea
Yeah.
narrates.
Yeah. Well, it's like, oh wait, some people might not know who the Power Rangers are.
The moms and
Shoot.
dads, the
Yeah.
grandparents.
Let's
So
get them caught up.
you know what's crazy though, because like I had this thought during that text scroll, and kind of what you're talking about, like just trying to describe them, like with
Hmm.
words, is like it never fits Power Rangers. Like the imagery, the music, the energy, because it's always like a guy, like a magical being named Zordon gave 5 teenagers superhuman abilities, and they're like, that's correct, but it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I, you need to say teenagers with attitude because then you're like
Yep,
you're getting closer to the vibe.
for sure, for sure. Even though they don't have attitude at all in this, they're all very
The
wholesome.
only attitude they actually exhibit is when Kimberly gets into her crane Zord and goes, "Nice stereo," which is a reference to
Yeah,
way back episode 1
that's a fun call. That's
or
true. They
episode
got
2 or
added.
whatever.
They
Episode
have
2
added.
where they actually get the Zords.
They're kind of like Spider-Man, where they have attitudes when they're in the costumes,
Yeah.
because then it's like, gotta love it. Eight
Yeah.
ball quarter pocket. All the like,
Well,
the
because that's
catchphrases.
all they have because it's just stunt people doing well executed stunts.
Yeah,
And so they're
yeah,
just like, it's cool to watch that and all, but like we're applying to kids in the same way that like the Digimon movie just needs to throw in jokes constantly.
yeah. Just a bunch of like stand-up comics from 2001 doing like punch-ups.
Basically, yeah.
This guy looks like a big old sushi, Matt.
Yes. So
Right.
something like that. So I don't think we need to necessarily rehash the movie as it exists, but I think the one
Mhm.
thing that I think we should mention is that like the movie exists mid story. Like it's not an origin story, and I don't think so. Obviously, ours shouldn't be either.
Mhm.
But I think it kind of it starts with the Power Rangers like at the peak. Like the Power Rangers are the top of their game. They're the coolest kids in town. It's this mystery thing. Sure, there are this random group of 6 color coordinated teenagers who are always hanging out together that perfectly match this group of color coordinated superheroes. But it doesn't matter. They're not the same.
Right. They're just fans.
They're just
Uh,
fans.
I mean, they're literally on top of the world at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah,
They're
with the
they're
skydiving.
they're skydiving. Crazy part about the skydiving is when they're landing, though, the guy announces them like they are celebrities.
Right.
First, it's Ty. Here comes Jason. Jason lands, and then it's Kimberly, and
I
everyone's
mean, Jason's
cheering.
not in this movie, so that would have been incredible.
It's Tommy. Tommy's the one that's in this movie.
Tommy. Yeah,
Okay.
Tommy's in this movie and as the White Ranger. It's also the
Yeah.
first time that you can show the White Ranger and the other color Rangers next to each other because in the original series at that time, the White Ranger was from a different series as the other Rangers. So like whenever the White
Really?
Zord, like the Tiger Zord and everything else were like happening at the same time, like they had to be like separate clips, like shooting lasers or something.
That's so weird.
It's so weird. And so it was very interesting. And of course, obviously, like he had his little like saber to talk to, which is not in
Sword
this
guy.
movie.
Yeah. Well, he is, but he doesn't talk, which is weird. He's the dude that like he throws it like a boomerang, and then his eyes zap the rope holding the big thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, because in the show he had like a little personality. It was like,
Yeah.
hey Tommy, it's me. Fucking kill him, kill
Because
them all.
yeah, yeah, basically. Oh man, my saber tells me to burn things.
That would be the new, yeah, the new version.
Tommy always got the best toys.
Oh, everybody wanted to be Tommy. He had the cool
Everybody wanted to be
armor.
Tommy. Wanted the dagger flute. You wanted the
Dagger
sword
flute.
friend.
You know why? Because he was bad, and he beat all the Power Rangers, but then he turned good. So you already
Yeah,
knew he was the most badass.
correct. And I will be referencing that episode later as well.
Oh, cool, cool, cool! I can't wait. Yeah,
Uh,
I know. I normally like tend to over prepare for these and come with like a full concept. Um, but I really decided to like actively not do that because I was like, I kind of just want to like bounce stuff off with Sam and see what we can come up with.
well, that's good because I've got a full concept.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. I have some
Well,
casts that I'm excited about, but that's about it.
I have a full concept in the sense that like I know this stuff backwards and forwards because like Power Rangers was my world for so long that I
Mhm.
know so much about this stuff and some of the things I'm going to suggest feel like things that have happened in episodes I don't specifically remember, but
Mhm.
like it's things that I just like. The more I think about the movie, the more I kind of like think about missed opportunities, which is kind of what this show's all about, and like coming up with fun new things to do.
Great.
And
Kind of.
so the big change that I want to make is that like so I think the movie should start with the Power Rangers doing a Power Ranger fight. Like the skydive is irrelevant. Like it's cool, it's iconic, it is the most 90s thing in the goddamn world.
Yep.
But it doesn't belong in the movie. What should be happening in the movie is the Power Rangers should be fighting putties and going into their Zords and kicking butt and winning. That way we don't need the opening crawl and we get to have this incredible montage of amazing fights to play underneath the Go Go Power Rangers theme song,
Ah, very nice.
getting everyone hyped for this movie.
And showing why Angel Grove has fallen in love with these 5 teens with attitude.
Yeah. What do you think the property value is like in Angel Grove?
Gosh, I don't know. It's always like super isolated and kind of out in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Because
I
I mean,
wouldn't
every
choose
week
to live
there's
there.
yeah, because every week it's not like it's not like Gotham where you never know what's going to happen. Anything can
Yeah.
happen in Gotham, but no, every afternoon at 3 p.m. some kind of big monster is going to come and destroy the city for like 3 minutes, and then it's going to be a fight. Yeah, like clockwork.
I kind of see it going the same way that like because I recently rewatched Pacific Rim just for fun, like completely irrelevant of this podcast, but like
Mhm.
I rewatched Pacific Rim and there's an element in the movie where like once like the what were the robots called?
Jaegers.
Jaegers, thank you. Once the Jaegers start like really kicking the kaiju butts, like they start making kaiju dolls and plushies and like people are fans and like the Charlie Day character has tattoos of specific kaiju on him.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, wait, what?
And I could see people in Angel Grove like getting really into being like, "Oh man, I guy was the shit."
Oh, cool. Yeah. Like some like yeah, like you go to a fair and you can get like stuffed versions of the pig one.
Yeah. Or like you literally have a pie eating contest named after the pig one.
Yeah, yeah, they kind of claim it now in a way because it's like just it's just part of Angel Grove, but the Power Rangers
Yeah,
always save us.
exactly. And I don't necessarily want that played into the movie. I just think that's kind of fun.
No, for sure.
Like like that's only occurring to me now. But it's kind of a tame version of Peril in that Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed are looking to like take over, like conquer the Earth, and like they want to rule the Earth. And so all of a sudden, construction, whatever happens, and they find this Lord, this Ivan Ooze who is buried underneath the Earth and like emerges. And what it turns out was he doesn't want to conquer the planet; he wants to destroy the planet.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And so he's this big fight and he fights the Rangers and defeats them. And then Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed come down and they're like, great, let's conquer the planet. Let's do this thing. And he's like, no. And then he defeats them too.
Mhm.
And I want these like broken and defeated Rangers back at the home base. And then I want like knock, 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 knock. Door opens. Ay, 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 ay. Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed are like, we need your we're recruiting you to help us to defeat Ivan Ooze. I
Okay,
want this
cool.
movie to be the Rangers, Rita Repulsa, and Lord Zed teaming up to beat an actual like shared foe.
Oh, nice. Yeah, like kind of like an uneasy alliance, like enemy of my enemy.
Yeah, because like Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed like want to conquer the Earth. It does them no good if the planet's destroyed.
Yeah. So like, how are we gonna like? What are we gonna gloat about if everything's destroyed? You know.
Yeah, we'll have to start completely over at some other planet, and who's got the time?
And yeah, and they are such fun characters. It does kind of like it gets less fun after they're taken out of the story in the
Yeah,
original.
and like some of the best episodes of Pokemon are when Ash, Misty, and Brock team up with Team Rocket.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think they ever do that in Power Rangers.
I, I'm in the back of my head. There's like something happened where they had to, but I don't remember what it was. But like I feel like that's what this needs to happen, and specifically, I feel like you get to have this thing where while the power like the like Zordon, Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed like figure out a way to get the Power Rangers their powers back so they can go fight. And then when the Power Rangers get knocked out, I want to see Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed fight Ivan Ooze. We never see them fight.
Yeah, that'd be imagine like, the Zord is about to like get stepped on and then like Rita's staff like blocks it.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to see Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed go nuts. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't cast people who like are good for fighting because I want it to be a surprise.
No, for sure. Like, you want Lord Zed to do like the Thor Avengers thing where he like calls upon like a big thunder lightning bolt thing and it like kills a Zord.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want that. So I was going to reference the Broly movie because in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, there's a moment where Goku and Vegeta have Frieza fight Broly for like half an hour to
Oh,
buy time while
wow,
they
that's
go do a
crazy.
power up someplace else.
Yeah, and you get to kind of like, oh, cool. Whoever loses, I don't care because it's just crazy to see.
Right. And it's just like epic fight choreography and it's just incredible animation. It's not a good movie, but the fights are incredible.
Nice. Yeah, Frieza versus Broly. That's crazy.
But we also get to have like I like the reason we have this final space fight in the movie as it exists now for no reason and it's dumb. But I think there's a way that we could make it awesome in the sense where like we get the Power Rangers getting their armor and that's one escalation. Then they get their
Mhm.
weapons, that's another escalation. And then they get their Zords and it's another escalation. Then it's the Megazord and it's another escalation. But
Yeah.
then so in my head, Ivan Ooze is going to destroy the planet by like pumping ooze into the like Earth's core, turning Earth's core into ooze. The planet explodes and spreads ooze all over the galaxy in a way that is
Cool.
dangerous
Yeah.
and like an existential threat to everything, and that's why everyone has to stop him. But at the end, when he's about to lose, all this ooze that's getting pumped into the Earth, he draws into himself and makes himself like a Megazord to a person is now he's that size to a Megazord.
Oh yeah, he's like Galactus.
Yeah. And so in my head, at this last minute, we get to have Rita Repulsa throw her staff and go, make my monster grow. And like you get to have that, but she's making the Megazord
Oh,
grow. And then
hell
they have no
yeah.
space, no nowhere to fight. So they like go like these massive beings go into space to fight.
That's
And we
great.
know Rita Repulsa's staff would work on that because she did that to the Green Ranger in the episode where he was evil. And so the Green Ranger fought the Megazord.
Oh wow, yeah. It's like it turns into like Gundam at that point.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And so like in my head, that's kind of like those are the big set pieces.
No, that's killer. That's like a great way to end a Power Rangers movie.
And just like and it's just like this gigantic fight and then like as soon as Ivan Ooze is defeated, Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed send down an entire army of putties. And the
Oh
Power Rangers
yeah.
just look at each other and go, all right, here we go again. And then they're fighting the putties over the end credits.
That's great. Like a stupid, like a Kingdom Hearts heartless amount of putties.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That's cool.
And like I said, that's set pieces, but it's not necessarily character arcs. So now
Yeah,
I'm going
no,
to go
for
to
sure.
you
That's a
and
good
say,
point.
all right, great. What are our character arcs?
You know what's crazy? Going back, so watching the movie, the '95 movie this morning. The only time they ever have any scene involving the Rangers having an interior life or even being like, it's crazy, right? It's always Kimberly and Tommy.
With
I
one
mean,
exception,
I mean
yes.
Jason. It's
Yeah,
Jason.
yeah, yeah. No, Tommy's right.
Tommy's right. Okay, Tommy Oliver. That's right. Very
Tommy
much right.
Oliver.
Yeah, it's always like
Jason's not in this movie.
hey, oh Kim, it'll be okay. I'm really bad Zordon. I'm like, can we cut to Billy? Can we cut to Adam? Can we cut to anybody else? Like, what's everyone else's deal? Well,
Billy's been here as long as Kimberly. Like they're the
yeah.
two people who've been here the longest.
What's the scene that I'm forgetting?
So there's only one scene where any one of the other ones gets any sense of internality, interiority, whatever the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for is. And it's the moment where Adam goes, I'm a frog.
Which is like the funniest, like arguably the best
Yeah,
line in the movie. It's the only time they ever kind of feel like a real like teenager, you know?
absolutely. And like
I,
I was talking to Tanner like prior to recording this episode, and they were
mhm.
saying that like because I was like, Tanner, I need to make sure you're happy with this because you're not part of the Power Rangers. And
Yeah.
Tanner had mentioned that Rocky is Puerto Rican, and I did not know that.
Oh,
And,
okay, yeah.
and like because like theoretically in the original series, the Red Ranger's the leader, but then that just kind of gets totally supplanted by Tommy,
Yeah, how cool he
especially
is.
in this movie.
Mhm.
And so like but like Rocky, the Red Ranger in this movie, like has three lines. It's hi, I'm Rocky, I'm the ape, and you can't handle
Uh,
this ape power.
he does get one of my favorite jokes. This kind of goes back to like just the goofy charm of this is like when he's the ape, he like jumps on top of one of the skeleton things and he's like, "Woo, ride 'em, cowboy!" And then Aisha's like, "Hang in there, Rocky." And he's like, "Oh, I'm hanging."
Yeah, okay,
And
fair.
just like it's like, oh, personality, you know, because like that's what I was reading his wiki bio, right? Because I was like, oh, who do I cast for Rocky? And the wiki thing is like Rocky is like the jokester, kind of like the goofball and like knucklehead. I'm like, where's that in the movie?
It's not.
All of his lines are just like, yeah.
I mean,
But I think you're totally right. Where I think the biggest potential this movie has to be like a big hit with teens now is getting those interpersonal relationships and like the friend group drama, because I think that's a big part of why shows like Stranger Things and Wednesday are so popular with
yeah.
kids.
And I'm not going to say who I cast yet, but like for Rocky, I gender swapped it and cast a shorter woman just because I'm like, oh, it's funny if like all of a sudden this like former leader is like a short girl and she's the one kicking everyone's ass.
I gender swap Rocky too.
Oh, we have the same person probably.
That'll be funny.
That will be fun. I look forward to that. But like, yeah, like that's what we need. Like, we need these people playing off each other because, like, we have these big bombastic set pieces, but that took me
Mhm.
2-3 minutes to describe, and we still have an hour and a half of
Yeah.
runtime outside of that.
What's so
So,
great about Stranger Things, especially Stranger Things 4, is like any combination of characters going off and doing an adventure is interesting.
yes,
Like Dustin Steve is cool. Maya Hawke and Nancy is cool. Like, and then you mix it up. Oh, I haven't seen this yet, you know, and like it
yeah,
kind of keeps the show feeling fresh after all these years.
and like for exactly the reason that you just talked about, of like all we got was Tommy and Kimberly, because they were like the hot couple or whatever.
Mhm.
And like I get that Tommy and future stunt double for Buffy Summers is fun, but
Wow,
because that's what she went on to do after Power Rangers.
that's crazy.
And like you look at her and you're like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Amy,
like,
yeah,
let's get weird pairings because again, Kimberly and Billy are the two that have been there for the longest. So they're the ones
yeah.
who are like, oh man, they're the ones who like they've been in the trenches since the beginning.
Right. Yeah. Like, what's like, can they have a moment together about like, wow, Zordon? Like, I know I still like, we were just normal kids before him and like, kind of, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And like they're the pink and blue. And like I want to have moments where like Aisha, Rocky, and Adam, the three newbies, are like, I mean, I've only been doing this for 3 months. I looked
Yeah,
up to you guys and then became one of you guys.
for sure. That'd be great.
I also like the like you can get kind of have them like after that first fight, like the opening credits, like Power Rangers theme song, awesome. Like they're like, oh man, I can't believe you did that move. That was incredible. Yeah, this was so good. But then when
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
lose, they can start sniping at each other in the exact same way. Where before they were praising their moves, and in the like when
Yeah.
they lose, it's like, and they've never been critiquing each other before.
Because that's kind of the opportunity, because it's a pretty good move in the 95 movie makes of taking away their powers and away
Yeah,
their costumes, because then they have to solve problems on their own and be a team, and that's when you can get them like, man, you suck, or you always do this, blah
yeah,
blah blah.
and it's so important to like see them as people because especially just like because they're kind of faceless when they're in their outfits.
Yeah, I mean they are kind of interchangeable at that point of just like quit, you know, joke, punch, kick.
Right, exactly. I also didn't recast Fred. Like, as 90s as he is, I think it defeats the purpose if there's someone on the ground actually fighting a battle that the Rangers never know about.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Fred until I watched the movie, so I also did not cast Fred.
It's like, I think Ivan Ooze should take over Angel Grove and like completely mechanizes the city to destroy the planet. And so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, they lost, he won, the city is his.
Hmm. And even if you want to have like an uprising or something subplot or whatever to cut back to while
Yeah.
ground level action or something.
Well, I think if we do end up doing that, that should be Bulk and Skull.
Right. Do you have a Bulk and Skull? I didn't cast Bulk and Skull.
I mean, I do, but it's the original Bulk and Skull. Bulk and Skull are the only people who are the same Bulk and Skull because it's
Oh,
always
great.
been Bulk and Skull. Bulk and Skull are still in Power Rangers.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's cool. I know they were on it like after the cast changes, you know, but that's cool.
Like,
So even now that they're both like in their 40s or whatever.
yeah, they're on for like, I think they're in their 50s.
Okay.
I'm turning 35 this year. The show came out 30 years ago. They're doing their 30th anniversary. They were definitely in their late 20s when the show started.
Sure. Yeah.
There's no way they're not in their 50s.
Great.
But yeah, like Bulk and Skull are the ones where it's like, and they still look like Bulk and Skull, and like they pop back into the show every 5-10 years, and they're like, I don't know when their most recent appearance was, but it's within the last 5-10 years.
What a
But like,
relationship those two must have.
yeah, Paul Schraer and Jason Narvey need to still be in the thing, because like they're, if any, more than any other character, they're the Power Rangers through line.
Absolutely. They're like what everyone remembers now as adults. It's like, oh yeah, Bulk and Skull.
Yeah, and like they also like they jumped out of that plane too.
Yeah, they're in the group. I really like, I think they get some really fun moments in the 95 movie.
They do. It's great. They're fun. They're having fun. I love them. And like over the course, like they also have their arc where they're like, they start as the bullies, like the stereotypical 90s bullies. And I think in later seasons, they're basically the Zordon.
Oh, wow.
I think they become the ones who like just know so much and have been involved in Power Rangers lore for so
Yeah.
long that they're the ones training the new team.
Oh yeah, Lord Zed. I remember him. This, that.
Yeah. I mean, I could pick a letter too and make that my whole personality.
Yeah. I'll have to look into this. Yeah, I did not know that they were that integral to the lore.
Yeah, I more so now than Billy and Kimberly. Like they're the ones that have been around the longest. It's great.
That's another kind of Dragon Ball move, because you have characters like Yajirobe, or characters that like they're never gonna fight, but they're never gonna like get killed either. They're just kind of always allowed to be in the background.
Yeah, very much so. Like
Oh
Poir
wow,
is there, but
they get suits.
They get suits.
Yeah, look. I mean, no, this might be fan art. I don't know if this is real, but like I saw this.
Oh, that's definitely fan art, but I want that to be real.
Okay. Yeah, this fan art of like a purple and orange ranger.
Excellent. I love that.
They're definitely in the comics.
Oh, I'm certain that's true.
Yeah, but I like the idea of it's just them in their 50s now. They're like, this is our town.
Like Mayor Bulk.
Mayor Bulk, Assistant Deputy Mayor Skull.
Incredible. What else do we need?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think we're on the same page of like, I think it's the movie has a cool template of like, start in a familiar Angel Grove. They have their shit together. They don't. They're in this crazy planet. None of their powers. They have to do some team building adventures. Then triumphantly, they go back to Angel Grove and save the city. Like, that's pretty clean.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily need Ivan Ooze showing up at the base and like blowing everything up and almost killing Zordon. Or no, killing Zordon. And then they Rangers, well, if you have the power, you can do anything. And they just like bring him back to life. And it's like,
okay, thank you, Sam. I want to talk about that moment a little bit, Sam, because
Please.
Yeah, at the very end, they beat Ivan Ooze and they come back to the command center, and Alpha's like, "Oh, sorry, it wasn't enough." I like to think that he actually died like an hour after they left.
Yeah, he did. Like he's literally dead.
I can't tell them. And then Tommy's like, "Wait, we're the Power Rangers. Like, we have our thing is called the Ultimate Power. What if we just made him alive again?"
And everyone's like, "We agree. That does make sense, Tommy. Good job."
Yeah, it's like we haven't been told what we can't do.
Yeah.
We'll just get in the circle and wish really hard, and it works. You just come back to life.
They reverse time, fix everything in space.
Oh, that's right. Because Billy is like, oh, he's out of his time stream, because that's why he's in that cylinder. Is that he's keeping him? He's supposed to.
Because like he's the same species as Space Bikini Lady or something, and she has to stay in a particular area because if she leaves it, she'll be as old as Zordon. Because they don't talk about how Space Bikini Lady is like thousands of years old.
Yeah. I think her name's Dulsa or Dulcea.
Yeah, it's a name.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to keep calling her Space Bikini Lady, you're more than welcome.
I really do.
Sure.
But yeah, like they're the same species or something, and like they need their special containment in order that, or they get like.
It's crazy that she gets a whole planet, and he can't leave that cylinder.
Well, she doesn't get the whole planet because she can't go help them in the forest.
That's true. She only has like her.
She has like the quarry and the ruins.
Quarry and the ruins. Otherwise, it's owl. She has to be an owl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's like Tobias.
I forgot about the owl. That owl is so ridiculous.
It's the only time it happens. You don't see it before that.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay, are we done? Cool. Like I just imagine Matt Berry, owl,
Owl. Right.
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
that. But like I don't want Zordon dead. I want Zordon, Alpha 5, Rita Repulsa, and Lord Zed back at the command, sniping at each other, just like being
Oh, totally.
ridiculous. I
Goldar, the pig.
oh yeah. I want because the pig's only in the movie, right?
I'm pretty sure, because who is it in the who is it in the show with Goldar?
It's weird bat guy with the monocle and then
It
like the weird
is.
with like the spike coming out of his like helmet.
Yeah, kind of
And,
vaguely, kind of monkey like, ape like.
well, like the ape bat guy, yeah. And then like they have the scientist guy with the glasses who's the one actually crafting everything out of clay in the back
Yeah.
room.
Remember Skull Guy?
Yes.
Army Skull Guy? He was crazy.
He was nuts. He was fun. He was like one of the ones where I think he was a two-parter because I think he like beat them up and they had to go get more power and then came back and beat him up or something.
Yeah. You're like,
If I
oh,
remember
God.
correctly, Army Skull Guy is Rita Repulsa's brother.
I think you're right. Yeah, that rings a bell.
But yeah, so but like I just have this image in my head of like they're in the command tower and like Lord Zed picks something up and then just like hands it to Rita, who pockets it, and like we're just slowly panning over to see that happened. And then the other side of Rita is just Alpha 5, hands on hips, and Rita makes eye contact, takes the thing back out of her pocket, hands it to Lord Zed, who puts it back where it was.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
this big silent like interchange over like 5 seconds of just like they're just sniping at each other and just being
Yeah.
obnoxious.
Yeah, I'd have fun with that. Kind of, yeah, the game, the Team Rocket having to hang out with Ash and them.
Yeah.
Dynamic. And I think the planet is just really great, like Hunger Games, like rife with subplot. Like, okay, what is bothering each of these characters? Like, is someone moving? Does someone not want to be a Power Ranger anymore? Or like, is there
Ooh.
like a romance going on that no one knows about, like a Shaggy Velma situation?
Yeah. I like that a lot. Interesting.
Because
We
yeah,
do need
these
to
are
have
fun.
all of those.
Because like I think they'd be
Because they're
fun to play with.
teenagers.
They're teenagers, and like you get like this being, well, no matter if you're a band kid or a theater kid or an athlete, you get a bunch of kids and you can have them spend all their time together. Friction and drama and stuff is going to start happening.
Always. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And like when everyone's feeling good, it's not a big deal. It just kind of rolls off of you. But like teenagers will hold on to something forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the biggest level up we could do with this remake is let the Rangers have some internal drama and friction going on. They don't have to always just be getting along all the time.
Yeah, I think that's good and I think that's important. And I think their internal drama needs to reflect how bad their situation is.
Yeah, like the more desperate, the more they're kind of like turning on each other because they're kids.
Yeah, at the end of the day. I mean, kids in ages 18 to 24 to 25, I think, according to
Oh,
my casting. But yeah.
that's another thing that I think I'm slowly. I know I'm getting older because I'm like I was going through my actors and I'm like, how old is this person? 19. How old is this person? 23. Like, yeah, go play, go be friends. You're the same.
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah, baby, go.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see who we found.
Let's do it then. Let's talk about casting.
So I did. You want to start with the kids or the grown-ups?
We got to start with the Rangers.
Okay, let's start with the Rangers. Do you want to start with Tommy?
We got to start with Tommy.
Start with Tommy. Who is your Tommy?
So my Tommy, I need someone who has fight experience, who is I think is 22, 23, so like just slightly older and like has fighting experience, is definitely like I don't know if he's as well known now, but like is about to be like star, and that's Zolo Maraduena
Oh, great. Cool. Yeah, from Cobra Kai.
from Cobra Kai, and is going to be Blue Beetle. I almost made him the Blue Ranger because I thought it'd be funny, but I was like, no, he's Tommy. He needs to be Tommy.
So that's so funny. Yeah, he came up in my head. My run kind of rule I gave myself was I only used people that I'm already kind of familiar with their work.
I tried. I'm not that good at it, but yeah.
So I was like, I've never seen a second of Cobra Kai, but you're totally right. He's like a teen. He's about to break out. Cobra Kai, he already knows how to fight. He's like perfect for this.
Yeah. But who did you have?
So I cast an actor that's hasn't broken out quite as much. His name is, I hope I'm not, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this name, Jai Diallo Winston, who it's Jahi Diallo Winston.
There it is.
Most recently, I saw him in the Netflix movie We Have a Ghost. where he's like so we have a ghost is like the family moves into a house, there's a ghost, and he's the like son who's like, oh, why did we even move here? So I hate it here. And he makes friends with David Harbour ghost, like, but himself. And so
Okay.
later the dad and the brother are like, get the ghost, we want to see the ghost, but he's scared. And he's like, so the Jai Dalla Wilson sings like an old song to
Oh
David
man,
Hart, and it's like big dreamboat energy.
that is big
Because
dreamboat energy.
it's like, oh, the sensitive kid, he has a really nice singing voice. And like, I think Tommy needs to have dreamboat energy.
I agree. I think that's a strong choice. I think that it might be better than a cup for like Billy or Adam.
Yeah. It sucks
Since
how we haven't seen either of our Tommies, you know?
yeah, frustrating. That's a good pull. I want to hold on
Because
to
like,
that pull.
I could watch
Let's
Cobra Kai later or Blue Beetle and be like, oh my God, Sam was totally right. That dude should have
yeah,
been Tommy.
let's get through all of our Rangers, then we'll go back and pick and choose.
For sure. Cool,
Who did
cool.
you have for your Kimberly, your Pink Ranger?
Okay. So my Kimberly, arguably the most iconic Power Ranger, like or I think Billy, Kimberly, Tommy, those are kind of the ones like you're like, oh my gosh. I know like Kimberly
Yeah,
was like my first crush, like ever
of
in
course.
life.
All of our first crushes.
Yeah, absolutely. So watching this, I was like, oh my gosh, Amy Jo Johnson, what a moment, what a vibe. Um, but that said, I am kind of like I went younger for my Kimberly. I kind of like the idea of them kind of Harry Potter, like having fun with them being teenagers, you know.
hmm
So my Kimberly Hart is Emma Myers, most famous for her role as I think it was Enid from Wednesday,
Oh, okay.
the werewolf girl, the roommate.
I haven't seen it.
Because like Kimberly is like unabashedly girly, 90s pink, feminine, like, but also like kick ass, and just like those two things existing without one apologizing for the other.
Yeah,
And I think in Wednesday she did a really good job of like, yeah, like this is who I am, but also like don't fuck with me, like I'm a werewolf.
I love that.
Uh,
That's really cool and clever. I like that a lot.
who did you
Interesting.
pick?
So I wanted the one thing Kimberly is known for is like she was the gymnast, the acrobat, like all those sorts of things. So I
Right.
wanted someone
Yeah,
who was
yeah.
able to move and but like was the same sort of person who'd sit down in a giant magical robot and be like, the sound system's good.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Buffy stunt double because that's a total Buffy line.
Yeah, it very much is. And so I went with the girl who played young Selena Kyle on Gotham. And
Oh
this
yeah.
actress is Cameron Bekendova.
Yes.
She's in Gotham. She's in Battlefield America. She was on Shake It Up briefly. And she is someone who like has the movement experience, so can like do kind of the Kimberly things, but also played Selena Kyle. So she very much has like the attitude.
Yeah, and I think she is like a gymnast, right? Or was a gymnast when she was
Yeah,
even younger.
exactly. Like that. So that's why I was like, I was really happy with that find.
That's great. And she was like she was like literally like 10 or whatever when Gotham
Something
came
like
out. So
that.
she
Yeah.
probably is still like in
I
the
think
age
she's
zone.
like 19 or 20 or something. I don't know.
Crazy.
Like all of these kids are somewhere in the range of like 18 to 23.
That's
They're
so
all
weird.
somewhere in there.
Yeah, you see this like 21-year-old kid and you're like, yeah, I've been working in this town for 15 years.
If there's one thing I know, it's that
Yeah.
5 years ago when I was 7, I never thought I'd make it.
We worked on Dog with a Blog back in 2013.
Yes. Good. Oh man. All right. So
So,
my Aisha, my Yellow Ranger, I went with Bodies, 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 Hunger Games, Dear Evan Hansen. I went with Amanda Stenberg.
oh, cool, great. Yeah, they're awesome. And they're going to be playing high schoolers for I mean like yeah, Dear Evan Hansen
Yeah,
still.
exactly. So
Um
that's why I was like,
that's
yeah, seems like a good Aisha.
we kind of picked similar vibes. So my Aisha, I picked Storm Reed
Yeah, that is a very similar vibe.
from because so Storm Reed from Euphoria, from Last of Us, and my thing is like I was watching Last of Us and I was like, can Storm Reed be in a movie where she just like goes to Hawaii and like finds a treasure map or something? Like I feel like every time I see her, she's just like fighting for her life and like full body crying. And so,
But why
but
why
then I'll
not an adventure where she gets to
yeah,
win and be happy?
just be like a teenager, like skydiving and eating pizza.
Yeah.
But I feel the same thing about Amanda Stunberg. Is
Stenberg?
Stenberg is like a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah, I mean like Like she's Rue, or they're
She's
Rue in
Rue.
Hunger Games, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah.
And
They're
then like
another
just
veteran.
the shit and fallout from that.
Right. Yeah. There's someone else that's like so young, but has already been a part of pop culture for like a decade.
Yeah, very much so.
So
Who was your
man,
Adam?
gosh, I actually Adam is the one person I was not able to find. I just
Got it.
couldn't find like because like I think Park is a Korean surname, so I was looking for like Korean American actors
Mhm.
in our age range that like wasn't K-pop like from Korea because I was like okay, well I think Adam is more like Korean American than, but that was just kind of my,
Yeah.
like I don't know if I would play someone that was like from Mexico City and lived in Mexico City his whole life because like I'm super Americanized.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's fair.
but but were you able to find an Adam?
I went with Forrest Wheeler from Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh, see, that's in the show I've never watched.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but like
Oh, okay, great.
I haven't seen a lot. I cast so many people. I can't watch everything.
No, for sure, for sure.
Long past needing to see the actually see the person perform for me to go with
Yeah,
them.
we're way past that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's like I was like, yeah, Forrest Wheeler, comedy kid, been doing this for a long time, probably very funny, and you could see him being really disappointed to be a frog. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, yeah. The kid who played Shazam, yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, I didn't because like the kid who played Shazam, Eugene, he's really
Mm-hmm.
good, but he might be too young still.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
he is.
but so yeah, that's great.
So I assume we both had the same person for Rocky the Red Ranger,
You go first.
Daphne Keene.
Wow, not mine.
Oh, okay, go for it.
So I was going off of that wiki description of Rocky being like the kind of clown, the goofball knucklehead, and I
Yeah.
was like, who would be fun? So my Rocky DeSantos is Schwatil Gomez.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Most famous, most no, I think it might be her only movie role so far is she was America Chavez in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
How old is she?
I think she's like 18, 19. Again, like kid face blindness. Maybe she's like 25.
I mean,
I
I
don't.
think she was 18, 19 when the movie came out.
Okay.
I'm
I
looking
don't.
this up. Hold on.
I just kind of feel like I've seen like a couple of like interviews behind the scenes stuff with because America Chavez. Look, my hot take is okay.
I
Please, Sam.
not. You want to know how hilariously wrong I am?
Okay, please.
She's 16.
Wow. Okay. Crazy.
Yeah,
So she's a kid.
yeah. She's like an actual child.
Crazy. Well, cool. Um,
Oh man, she was born in 2006.
like the Rocky that I'm picturing has big like falls down a hole in the jungle and shouts out, "I'm okay." Like,
Yeah, very much
like,
so.
like always getting mixed. And I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to see her because, like, I think a lot of the Marvel heroine, like your America Chavez, your Kate Bishop, your Cassie Lang, they kind of all have the same personality.
Hmm.
So it'd be cool to give Trato Gomez like a real kind of like goofball knucklehead character to be.
Just someone who's really into getting the pizza from every universe, multiverse world you go to.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Pizza balls, pizza squares.
Yeah. Oh man, that's tough. Good choice. Good pull.
Oh, but I didn't even ask. Like, what made you? What brought Daphne Keene to your mind?
So I'd originally had Bella Ramsey, and
Okay.
because I wanted that kind of like really tough, small, older than you think, and just like but able to
Mm-hmm.
take charge regardless of size. And I kind of
Yeah.
wanted that energy because again, the Red Ranger theoretically used to be the leader.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's why Zordon picked them theoretically.
Yeah. And so like I wanted someone who could have leader energy. And then talking to Tanner, they were like, "No, Rocky's Puerto Rican. Maybe don't cast a white person." And I was like, "Good
Mhm.
point. Who has that exact same energy but isn't white?" Daphne Keene.
Again. Is Bella Ramsey what, like 28, 29?
She's 19.
Okay, cool.
No, her I remember. She was 19.
Okay.
And I think Daphne Keene is 18.
Okay. That's crazy.
I know, right?
Um,
It's nuts.
yeah.
But
And I
like
didn't
obviously
even
her role in like Logan and his Dark Materials and everything. Like she's
for
very
sure.
good.
No, yeah, definitely. I need to get into his Dark Materials because like, yeah, I'm still picturing Laura, and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to know if they got to the point where they kill God.
Finally. Gosh.
I mean, that's what happens in the books.
All those
Canonically
crazy.
in the books, they have to
Oh
kill
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah. I was a big. That's the thing is like I haven't read Amber Spyglass since I was like in the sixth grade, and so my imagination was just doing so much work back then.
So I
And like,
remember in sixth, seventh, eighth grade when friends and like people I was in class with were reading the books, and I just never did for whatever
mhm.
reason. And so when I first moved to LA, like within the first 2-3 years of living in LA, that's when I read the whole trilogy.
Oh, cool. With an
So
adult's brain.
yeah, I mean, it held up. It's real good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but so much of that went over my head as a kid.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
like
just
how
along
they
for the ride.
murdered God.
Yeah, like how they murdered God. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
God's just like the angels are having a massive war, and then they find this ancient being trapped in crystal, and they're like, "You probably want to die, right?" Uh huh. Stab.
Super bad. Billy. That's our last ranger.
Yeah. Who did you have for iconic classic Billy?
So here's my yeah, super iconic Billy, the smart, the brains. I was kind of thinking like after I make my pick, it would be cool if so like famously or infamously, the actor that played Billy was like I don't know if this was ever confirmed, but I remember the thing was like
Bullied
he
on
came
set.
bullied on set for being gay.
Yeah.
And like he has come back to the franchise recently. He's going to be in that new Netflix movie.
Yeah, it's him
So
and Zach.
assumedly he was able to make peace with, whatever that
Hmm.
period of his life meant to him. And so I was like, oh, it'd be cool if Billy was gay in the movie.
Yeah.
Um, but then I was like, oh, the Billy that I cast, I don't believe is gay. And I don't know how I feel. I mean, like everyone, I think I have mixed opinions or like kind of like hear both sides of like casting at gay actors to play gay characters and all that. But that being said, my Billy that I really wanted to see was Jack Dylan Grazer from Shazam and It.
Okay.
I mean, like the kid's just a savant at being a smart ass little teenager, and I've never seen like Billy's always just been kind of like a Peter Parker nerd, like very.
Yep. True.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what if he's a little Weisenheimer? Like I don't know what that would be like.
I don't know. It's a good question. It's you kind of gotta. I mean, that's tough because like I also had that thought, and part of me is also like, these kids are pretty young, maybe. And
Maybe they
I
don't.
get that people are being
Yeah,
comfortable enough with their own identities that age, but there are also plenty of people who don't realize their personal identity until like later in their 20s or
no,
30s or whatever.
that's a very good point.
That was the identity of the Billy that we had. I don't know if it's necessarily the identity of the Billy here.
Mhm.
I don't know because like
Yeah,
that's tough.
yeah, and it's like this is a franchise. Like, yeah, maybe it's something that kind of like as these characters get older and kind of learn more about themselves and stuff.
But like at the same time, like you take the 2017 version, and their version of Billy was this kid with autism, and like
Mhm.
I can't fault his performance. He did an absolutely incredible job, and but that's one way of to go with it.
Sure.
And I feel like as long as Billy is technically savvy, I don't really care about Billy's personality. Billy could be anyone, just who happens to have a proficiency with electronics and machines.
Yes. Yeah. He's like the Donatello of the Power Rangers.
Yeah, basically. Like I don't really care. Like that Billy can be whoever that Billy is,
Hmm.
but just needs to have that skill set,
For
as far
sure.
as I'm concerned. So I again haven't seen this kid perform. But apparently he's in something called Boo Bitch, Night Squad, and then had was a recurring character on Liv and Maddie. And this actor is named Tenzing Norgay Trainer,
Okay.
which
Wow. No, I have no idea who that is.
fucking
I'm
great
gonna.
name. It was the first time I'd ever seen him also, but
I'm looking
is
this
the
up
right
right now.
age. And I don't know. Seems like a fun, good actor. Comes from the Disney School of Acting, so like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This kid. Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't know why I said that because I've never seen him before. But yeah, he looks like a Billy.
agreed.
It's so yeah. It's so interesting because there's like the Google image results. There's such huge age gaps even in those image results of like
Yeah.
here's this kid when he's like 7. Here's this kid now, and you're like, okay, okay. I think somewhere in between here. Yeah.
Here's what I'm
Cool.
thinking I want to do. I want, but because like, who was your first person for Tommy?
My Tommy is Jai Diallo Winston.
I think Jai Diallo Winstead would actually make a really good Billy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because he's kind of like he's very like soft spoken in We Have a Ghost. He's kind of like he's not a nerd. He's just like awkward. And so yeah, the kind of I think he also now that I think about it, he's in a really good movie called Charm City Kings, which he's like a completely different character. So yeah, I think you throw him like, hey, be a dork, be a nerd. He's like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. So working my way back up, I would do Jai Diala Winstead for Billy. I would do
Winston.
Daphne Keene for Rocky. Adam, we really only had Forrest Wheeler. Storm Reed for Aisha. What was your Kimberly? Emma Myers?
Emma Myers from Wednesday.
Emma Myers. And then we have Zolo Maraduena for Tommy.
Yes. I
Happy
believe,
with that?
Sam, if you want, I think, so the thing about that X is it's kind of a sh sound. So I think the way you pronounce his name is Sholo. Shol
Sholo?
Mariduena. Sholo or Shol.
Okay. Sholo Maraduena.
Nice.
I can work on it.
I'm not pranking you, I promise. I think that's how you pronounce it.
So we didn't really talk about personality for Ivan Ooze. I thought the Ivan Ooze that we had in this movie was really, really good.
Oh, phenomenal performance.
It's
5-star
like,
performance.
Absolutely. It's like we don't have any notes on it because it was that incredible.
Just going for it. And, you know, really, because like this is Paul Freeman from Raiders of the Lost Ark and all kinds of other stuff. So it really is like he did not have to go this hard, but he did. And I
but he
appreciate
did. He knew exactly what movie he was in and he fucking brought it.
Yeah. He's like, this is for the parents. I'm going to give them something.
But also, like, at the same time, like, I think that same energy can be translated into our version. Like, even though he's trying to destroy the planet, he's like, I'm going to destroy the planet, but I'm going to have fun. I'm not doing this because I'm boring. I'm doing this because I think this is fucking great.
Ivan Ooze is actually the first casting choice they made. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, please tell me.
So for Ivan Ooze, I picked Saturday Night Live's Sarah Sherman, aka Sarah Squirm.
Oh, interesting.
So if you haven't watched SNL in the past couple years, she's a pretty new addition, and her thing is like she calls it like splat, like she has like this style of comedy that's like gross gore makeup based and like looking as gross and unsettling as possible, but then being like really bright and funny about it. And so I was like, oh yeah, she would have so much fun being like made of ooze and like coughing up loogies and stuff.
That sounds incredible. I think you got this just because that explanation alone is perfect. Let me tell you about mine, but I think we'll go with yours.
Please.
I wanted the big bombastic, just like as soon as you're there, takes absolute control of the character. So I went with Matt Berry from What We Do in the Shadows and the IT Crowd and Mighty Boosh.
That's great.
But that's kind of chasing the performance that we already have. I think Sarah Sherman gets ahead of the performance and does it in a cool, interesting, and new way. So I think Sarah Sherman is inspired. That's brilliant.
Well, I hadn't thought of Matt Berry, but I was thinking Matt Berry as like the voice of Lord Zed could be cool.
That would also be very fun. We'll get to Lord Zed. Let's do Lord Zed now. So is that who you had for Lord Zed?
Well, I completely forgot about Lord Zed until I was watching the movie. I'm like, oh, that's right, because he's not as interesting as Rita. So like, I just thought, because I was thinking, okay, cool, like actor being the body, but then you get a voice to do ADR, and so I thought of Clancy Brown.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But Matt Berry.
Yeah. So what we know about Lord Zed is that like Lord Zed is literally just all muscles and a visor.
Yeah, he's like, I'm evil.
And I always have kind of thought of him as like Rita Repulsa's himbo husband.
Oh, that's great.
So I went with Channing Tatum.
Oh, wow. I love that.
And I also just like, I'm evil. What are we doing over here again?
What are we doing over here? Hey, yeah, just kind of like that insecure big buff guy thing. I love that just because you gave Zed a personality finally.
Right. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the Lord Zed Rita Repulsa thing is like a little skeevy because Lord Zed took over and then Rita Repulsa snuck in, drugged Lord Zed to fall in love with her, and then they got married.
Yeah, and they never go back.
A lack of consent in that relationship.
Inherently. And
not in the way you'd expect.
Sure, yeah, you're like, I completely forgotten about that until you said it.
Yeah. So I just like kind of seeing like obviously like consent, but also like kind of the big dumb lug boyfriend. And I'm like, that seems fun.
That's great. Yeah, I've never seen Channing Tatum play like a big villain before.
Yeah, and I just want him to have fun and be big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you have to get a body double, you could actually just do it. Just be Lord Zed.
Yeah, just you get to see him being like full prosthetics, and he's just like, yeah, just get to, yeah.
Yeah.
So then who do you have for, oh, you went first for the last one. So let me tell you about who I have for Rita Repulsa. the
Great.
actual brains of the relationship, the one who's kind of taking control, the true evil mastermind of the whole thing, who's like, all right, I don't want to team up with the Power Rangers and Zordon, but we're going to do it because like it's the only way that I, Rita Repulsa, am going to win. And that's Ali Wong.
That's who I picked.
Is it really?
I picked Ali
No
Wong.
freaking way.
That's great.
That's amazing. Yeah, because she's perfect, right?
Especially against like, yeah, her being the brains and like Channing Tatum being like the dumb muscle. Like that's
yeah. Great. And like you can just see like her doing machinations, and they're like the same age, which is super fun for me.
Yeah. But she's like, oh yeah, like you're doing the voice, and then he's like, oh hey, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm Lord Zed.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
And but like you get a moment where like when Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed have to fight, like Lord Zed flips the switch and is just like, I'm Lord Zed.
Yeah. Like he really gets to perform, but like
he gets to really bring the Z.
Mm-hmm, yeah, really. Yeah, capital Z Zed.
Oh man, that's great. I fucking love when that happens.
It's the best.
Okay, so then let's do Bulk and Skull or Paul Schrader and Jason Narvi.
Great. Irreplaceable.
And then we have Zordon and Alpha 5. Let's start with Zordon.
So, you want to go?
No. I went first for the last one, and then it was awesome. So please go first.
So 2017, we had Zordon played by Bryan Cranston.
Uh-huh.
So you got the, the gravitas, the voice, the chisel, the face, and perfect. And I was like, okay, immortal cosmic being, who's someone that has that like, ooh, this weird, this crazy magnetic presence, but there's like an ageless quality to it. So
Are you going with Tilda Swinton?
I'm not going with Tilda Swinton, but kind of that vibe. That's actually not bad. That's really good. My Zordon is an actor named Aisha Kate Dillon. They are on a show called Billions that I have never seen a second of, but
I saw the pilot.
I know them from, they play the adjudicator in John Wick Chapter 3.
Oh, that's right.
And I just picture their
very
head.
Good.
And they're also, what clinched it was they're a voice of a computer in an episode of Moon Girl.
Oh, I need to watch that. Is it good?
It's really good. You're going to love it.
Okay, I'm so excited.
But they're one of those like chess playing computers. Like it's like a box.
Perfect. Amazing.
But their voice with that filter, I was like, oh, they would be. And then like their head, because they keep their head shaved. And so I just pictured them with the Zordon in the Zordon tank.
Good. I love that. That's a great choice. I also was inspired by the 2017 casting of Bryan Cranston.
Oh, great.
But for Zordon, I kind of wanted to chase. I did want to chase like the Rangers,
yeah, of course,
like because at the end of the day there is a little bit of iconicness to that, and I think that that's kind of important. But again, as we always like to, we're following Bryan Cranston, and who follows Bryan Cranston better than Bob Odenkirk?
Whoa, they're gonna say Aaron Paul.
No.
Yo, Rangers.
Oh man, Rangers, this is gonna be sick.
Oh, some hot shit. Oh no, but that's great. Bob Odenkirk. I never would have thought of that.
Like, because he also has the comedy. Like, Bryan Cranston and Bob Odenkirk are both incredible castings for their individual roles because of their comedy backgrounds. Like, Bob Odenkirk is a titan of comedy. And, like, but then he's also Better Call Saul, and he's a nobody. Like, so he actually has action experience somehow.
I was watching his Hot Ones, and
that's part of what put it in my head, too.
Yeah, he can get kind of serious. He has, like, wisdom.
Yeah. So this is a really deep cut, but like 10 years ago, he was interviewed in this article talking about the sort of things he writes. And he says, I really only know how to write sketch comedy. That's all I've really had to ever write. But if I was getting into writing right now, sketch comedy doesn't have as many outlets and venues as it once did. And so that's why I think you really need to start getting better at writing long form things. Like you need to get better at writing pilots and features and everything. And genuinely, the reason why I kind of stopped writing sketches and started writing pilots and features and everything is because of this interview that he did 10 years ago and probably doesn't even remember.
Wow. So he inspired you the way Zordon inspires the Rangers.
It's true. And his brother works in the same building as my dad.
Whoa, small world.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I think, the deciding factor might be because you're right. You got Zordon, Rangers, and Aisha Kate Dillon. They would have like Rangers, like stirring in a different way.
I think it depends on who we cast for our Alpha 5.
Oh, cool. Very interesting. Who's your Alpha 5?
So Alpha 5, look, at the end of the day, I would cast me as Alpha 5 because it's one of the few impressions I'm really good.
Look,
Rangers!
I
Ay,
can
ay,
do
ay, ay,
this.
ay!
Trading my old, yeah, perfect. You did it.
Sordon, we need to call for help!
You should do. There's got to be like VO, like voice, like video game Power Ranger games and stuff.
Right. But like, I wanted someone who could like kind of handle the adorableness, but sense of urgency.
Okay, two things. So just for reference, in the 2017 movie was Bill Hader.
Right.
And B, I'm very nervous that we're about to double cast again.
Well, considering that I know that this was one of your favorite movies last year, I'm pretty sure we both went with Jenny Slate.
Oh no, I didn't. So close. That's great though. I love that because like I don't know because she would do a character. You know, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
About that. My Alpha 5 was Kate McCucci.
Oh, that's very funny too.
Just because that's a layup. That's like you just
Yeah.
her voice, you know. But Jenny Slate's more of a wild card.
And well, you also get to remember that last year she was also in Everything Everywhere All at Once, so she also has the action experience.
Right. Oh my god, if Alpha threw down,
yeah.
if Alpha could fight, that would be crazy.
Like all we know about Alpha is that Alpha's kind of like the dorky little nerd robot who then later in the season gets replaced by Alpha 6 because you're like, oh no, Alpha, no.
Yeah, and Alpha 6 had kind of like a Rosie O'Donnell like Brooklyn accent, right?
Yeah, it was weird and different, but like, but they like killed Alpha 5.
Kid dead.
I think so.
Crazy.
I don't remember. Because I don't think Alpha 5 went on to like a conference or something.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why Jason left. It was like, I'm Jason. I have to go to a conference. Well, can't be the Red Ranger anymore.
Oh, I'm stuck.
Yep.
In the Netflix movie, Alpha's voiced by Invader Zim.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. That's good casting, actually.
Like, I didn't even have to look it up. I just heard that. I was like, oh, that's Zim.
So we both kind of went with smaller women for Alpha 5. So I'm perfectly happy doing like Bob Odenkirk, Kate McCucci. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think you kind of convinced me on Jenny Slate.
Oh, yeah?
It's just because, like, she could... Yeah. Let's do
Between the two Zordons, then, who would you pair with Jenny Slate?
Oh, God. Yeah. No, you're right. Because, like, yeah, I think Bob Odenkirk just kind of has... Because what if Zordon didn't have to be... What if Zordon could be kind of, like, have uncle energy? Like, more personable.
Yeah. Right. So, like, the important thing is, like, I just need them to be different.
Yeah, for sure. You mean different from each other or different from their classic versions?
Different from each other.
Yeah. I think I like the idea, especially the version you're talking about, which is like Rita and Zed being stuck there with them. I kind of like the idea of them bouncing off of Bob Odenkirk floating ahead.
Just the driest takedowns of Bob Odenkirk, and Zed being like, I could literally blow you up right now, and Bob Odenkirk being like, well, then that just means that I'm right.
You kill me, you fucking yeah. I don't know. Oh yeah,
cool.
So Zordon talking about Wrigley Field.
Yes. So the only other casting I have is Goldar.
Cool. I didn't cast a Goldar.
Okay. I wanted someone who could give kind of the gravelly voice, but is objectively very silly.
It's a thin line because it can't be too annoying, but it's got to. You want to hear the Goldar voice,
right? And so, like, you know that he's got the cool gravelly voice, but then also this person's very silly, and like it's hard to picture him without the beard, but it's okay because he's just going to be all prosthetics covered in gold. It's going to be great. Christopher Hivju from Game of Thrones, Force Majeure, and most recently, Cocaine Bear.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's great. Yeah, because it's not very distinctive voice.
Yeah.
And gravelly, but yeah, that's good.
I'm Goldar. I have a big scary voice, but I'm a big old dummy.
Oh, he's the big woman here. Would he have his accent?
Goldar doesn't have an accent.
All right, but yeah, the actor. But I
mean, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
But yeah, I'm like, because like I've seen TikToks and Instagrams or whatever of like him being extremely silly and like,
oh, cool.
Let this big guy have fun. This big intimidating guy comes and goes. It's kind of same sort of like thing that we did with Channing Tatum, but like at the end of the day, those kind of villains are all Team Rocket.
There was a joke. Goldar has a joke in the '95 movie where Kimberly's like on the way to like fight. And Ivan was like, "Oh, look at the cute little pink ranger on her way." And Goldar's oh, you think she's cute too? And I was like, what?
And then Ivan Ooze just like turns and looks at him.
Like, That's the kind of stuff you could really mine in the version where they're
Yes.
all stuck under one roof, you know?
Yes,
Like
very much so.
Goldar
And
has
then
kind of a
there's
crush on Kimberly.
I also really like that, like, in, like, the hierarchy of, like, tiered who's in control, in all 5 of them, Goldar's still at the bottom. Alpha 5 is bossing Goldar around,
Oh,
Zordon's
that's
bossing
great.
Goldar around.
I love that. Yeah, like, even Alpha's like, "Would you just shut up and just do this?" And he's like, "Okay, sorry."
Yeah, I love it so much. And just, like, when they eventually need to leave, just Alpha 5 and Goldar are like, "Bye. It was
Bye.
nice
Oh,
hanging out."
that's great. It's kinda like when the 2 like, "I have to go home now." Like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
That's the energy I want.
That's great.
Cool. I don't have any other acting roles, do you?
Oh, I did cast a Dulcea.
Great. Who is your Dulcea?
So, I didn't catch this as a kid, which is crazy, but they are totally doing Ben Kenobi.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you're getting attacked by the Tengu, and then a big scary. She even does like a whoop, like a big noise. She's in a robe, and they scare the Tengu away, and then it's like an old grizzled warrior that knows all the backstory already. You know,
Yes.
so Alec Guinness in New Hope.
Okay. Oh, I thought that's who you were casting. I
Okay,
was like, I don't know
yeah,
how we're gonna
we
do that.
we
That's
deep
insane.
fake Alec Guinness.
Okay, go
So,
on.
so at the time, that was kind of like, oh my god, what's Alec Guinness doing in this like hokey, cheap 70 like kids movie? Um,
Yeah.
so it'd be kind of cool to do that by casting someone who's way out of their league for this. Um,
Okay.
so I cast Rosamund Pike. You know, she's in Wheel of Time. She was in the Doom movie, but she's also, you know, she's like a classically trained like actor.
And what outfit would you be telling Rosamund Pike that she would be wearing?
Oh, so that's the thing is because she's like cut, like, you know, you see her in like Gone Girl, and it's like, yeah, she could fit like she could rock like that outfit if she wanted to, but then also be kind of funny to go full Ben Kenobi and she's just wearing like rags, like robes, like desert robes.
Yeah, I think desert robes are the way to go. I don't think we need more space bikini.
No, for sure, for sure.
Despite the fact that
Um,
Rosamund Pike is literally a Bond girl.
right, yeah, and like 6'9" or whatever. One thing, Sam, did you notice the part where the best part about the second best part about I'm a Frog is so she's going in Dulcea's going in a row and she's like, Kimberly, you are the crane because you're swift and graceful. Rocky, you're the gorilla because you're like strong and brave. And Adam is like, I'm a frog. And just like a frog that needs to be kisses him on the forehead. And then Jason, you're the wait, no. What? Why is he a frog?
Yeah, that I did notice that. That was great. It's like, yes. And just with a kiss, you turn into a prince. Kiss, move on. But what can I do?
Why
Hey, hey.
am I brave? Am I smart? What does that mean?
So I'm a frog, so I have generational wealth. What are we doing?
Yeah. You can be you have if anyone licks you, they'll die in like a minute.
You are not allowed in Australia.
Oh man. So do you have a writer director team picked out?
Yes. I do not have a hyphenate. Do you have a hyphenate?
No, oh yeah, I have one writer and one director.
Okay, good. So I so my writer hasn't done all that much, and this is tough, but like because you need someone who can like balance a bunch of action and a bunch of different storylines going on at the same time, and just
Mhm.
like keep everything exciting, but also like personable. And so the writer I went with has a bunch of stuff in development, just kind of based on the two things that he's come out with recently, and
Mm.
that's obviously Fear Street Part 2, but more importantly, Bullet Train.
Oh, cool.
So my writer is Zach Olkowitz.
Zach Olkowitz. I didn't know
Witz.
that the Fear Streets had different screenwriters and that the person that wrote Bullet Train. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
hmm And like I went to his IMDb Pro, and he has so many things in development, probably because of Bullet Train, because it was so much fun and awesome. But
Right. And it's a
uh,
big like, oh, he can write that kind of movie, then he can write our superhero thing, he can write our action thing, he can
basically,
write our crime thing.
yep, exactly that.
That's really cool. My writer is a little bit more established. They mostly have written in TV. I don't know if they have any screen credits actually, but her name is Bisha K. Ali, most notable for her work in Sex Education, which I've never seen, and she wrote, I think she was the showrunner, but she wrote the first episode for Miss Marvel.
I mean, she also was executive story editor on Loki.
Oh, Loki as well. Sweet. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, then like big into like the comic book universe, hoppy sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, apparently she was a staff writer on Four Weddings and a Funeral, Sex Education. She
Yeah.
was interviewed on Fresh Air.
Oh, cool. Check that out. Because I liked, I mean, like as much authority as a 31-year-old can have. I thought the teenage characters in Miss Marvel felt very grounded and realistic, but still pop rock in the way that I think
Yeah.
you want your Power Rangers movie to be.
My big, I think I've talked about it on the show before. Like my big note about Miss Marvel is that like it feels like a season 2 plot in the season
Sure.
1 of a show.
That's true. That's cool. That's a good point. Yeah. Where like
But
it's not really focused on who they. That's true, because you normally you wait until season 2 to go into like, where's Kamala from?
right, and
What's
like
the
we
family
don't
like?
do anything to establish her as like a base level superhero. Like she goes and saves one person once, messes it up, and then that never happens again. And now all of a sudden she has to save the universe, and it's like
Yeah. Gosh, now I'm really interested for you to watch Moon Girl, because I actually think they kind of low-key do street level superhero stuff.
I'm so excited. It's one of those things where like there's always so much stuff happening that I forget different things exist, and I'm very excited
Yeah.
to watch it. Okay,
What is it
Moon
about the
Girl, it's
spring?
happening.
There's so much stuff right now, specifically.
I don't know, but
Crazy.
I'm into it.
Shadow and Bone. Got
Yeah.
stuff.
Who did you have for your director?
So I went a little experimental. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts. But so my director is a martial artist, action director named Bao Tran.
Oh, great. Tell me about this person I don't know.
Directed last year a movie that I really, really loved. It was a martial arts movie called The Paper Tigers, which was about a group of like guys in their 40s now that were all part of a dojo, like that, like one guy, one teacher, and then they like come back and it's like a martial arts movie, but now they're like all creaky and getting old, but it's very wholesome and it's big, almost kind of like Three Ninjas energy,
Yeah.
but now. And so I think that he could handle like the heart, but also like the martial arts stuff.
Yeah. That feels very much like I remember when the movie Tag came out. I was like, "Oh, Tag is so fun because it's just these guys hanging out and like doing a thing that they love."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, that kind of energy. But then it's like, oh, we have to fight these guys in a pool, like in an abandoned, like an empty pool.
Yeah.
Who is your director?
So my director, I also, in this case, I did the thing you did for writer where I pulled from TV, and so I kind of was going for like the vibe of like can direct an ensemble, while also like, so the three things I have listed, like she's worked on episodes of A League of Their Own, Only Murders in the Building, and Russian Doll. Russian
Oh,
Doll,
wow.
keeping all the pieces in the air. Only Murders in the Building is like comedy ensemble, and A League of Their Own ensemble running around set piece kind of thing.
Right.
This director is named Jamie Babbitt.
Jamie Babbitt. Those are three very like distinct shows.
Yeah. She also was the director and writer of But I'm a Cheerleader.
Wow. So she's been at it.
Yeah, she's been around for a while. Like she also co-exec produced Silicon Valley and was a director of 18 episodes of Gilmore Girls, and she did episodes of Girls.
Of course she worked on Russian Doll, because I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's great.
All of that sort of stuff coming together. Like this is one of those names where it's like she should be more well known because of how much stuff she's done. I'm just a horrible human being and I don't know names, but I'm like, she feels like the sort of person who like one of the things that we didn't come up with a lot of were interpersonal, like going back and forth and like the character drama. And that's where she lives.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so
the problem is that we'd probably then need a really good stunt coordinator.
For sure. Or like an action director. Yeah. So like maybe like Quoc Tran Bao can be like the action director, like second unit guy. And then Jamie Babbitt that's also very television.
It is.
I'm really not to drag this out because we are under our new Zencastr 2-hour allotted time limit.
I think we'll be okay.
But now that you have our Rangers in your head, are any kind of interpersonal drama stuff like, oh well, cool if this Kimberly and this Billy were like really close friends, or like if this Rocky and this Jason had like a rivalry, like a Matt and Ty rivalry, you know?
Can you just imagine 3 of the Rangers forming a band and then like the other 3 being like, hey,
what? Sorry, guys, we're late for Brotherhood of the Wolf rehearsals. Okay, fuck us, I guess.
Yeah, all right, well, cool, whatever. Oh.
That'd be really funny if Billy and Kimberly were best friends, because Billy's like chess club debate nerd and
Yeah,
Kimberly's like, let's go to the
cheerleader
mall
or whatever.
cheerleader. Yeah. And so like them being, but because of the Power Rangers, they get to see the real them. And so they bond, even though
Yeah,
that'd be really fun.
I do love that. That's great. I don't know, stuff like that. Like those are the kind of interpersonal things that then like you see this movie, you see them having fun, and then just like, well, they should have a TV show, and then just like goes from there.
Yeah.
But one of the nice thing about this is that you don't have to establish their relationships. Like I want those already established before the movie. They
Yeah.
already have their dynamics that feel fresh and good, and like that they enjoy. And but then those dynamics that are already established get strained by the movie itself.
I could see Storm Reed Aisha opening her mailbox and getting like, you know, a letter from like Cal. Yeah, pie. Or like, you know, oh no, she got accepted into Cal Arts or something.
Yeah, what's she gonna do? Like, the
stop
Rangers
being a
live in
Ranger?
Angel Grove. Like you can't be a Power Ranger in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's a great line. And like only Alpha knows about it, because it's like, I
Yeah,
can't tell the others, Alpha.
like I have to tell someone.
Tell them.
Alpha can't keep a secret. Ay, 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 ay.
Yeah. So that's Alpha 5. It's distinctly not Alpha 6.
Yes.
So yeah, any other things before we solidify
So it was
this?
interesting. Like I honestly was expecting to not like. The more I think about Jamie Babbitt, the more I like her. But like, part of me is like, we do need action set piece like like, because obviously the easy thing to do is to go and get the director from like John Wick to be like, great, we got the clever writer to write it, but then like we have the action stunt person directing it. But like, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that works, because really that's going to come down to animation and everything, and like CGI and whatever. And I feel like the actual way to go,
and White Tiger, I know Paper Tigers has that same like straight to video, but in a charming way, like 90s throwback sense of humor.
Yeah, I'm tempted to do Bisha K. Ali and Jamie Babbitt.
Ooh, okay. Oh, so Bisha K. Ali writing, Jamie Babbitt directing.
Yes.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened in television yet.
I mean, it might have. I just don't know.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
That's like kind of what I think it needs to be. Like, in this case, you have Bisha K. Ali writing the dynamics, like kind of setting up the dynamics, but also setting up, because like, especially because she's been working in television, and in television it's the writer, she's been writing these big kind of like action sequences, and I feel like that needs to happen in the script. And then Jamie Babbitt is being the actor's director when they're there, fostering these dynamics that they're all having on set.
So I know this is, you know, free of you know, the auspices of the podcast, which is Ideal Remake. What we're describing right now, as a consumer, as like a fan, would you be more pumped about this being like a really cool movie to go see in the theater, or like an 8-part Netflix series?
I think that if it was an 8-part Netflix series, I feel like that would be, I mean, obviously, hell, I'd love it either way. But an 8-part Netflix series,
we don't get that hit the ground running stuff if it's that. What you're talking about with the movie of like, they're
like
already friends.
Yeah, like the entire episode would be like, victory, 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 victory. Ivan Ooze comes back, and then end of first episode, Ivan Ooze is back. Right. And I feel like it would just take this whole thing, and like Gak and Silly Putty itself, it would just stretch a story over a longer period of time.
Yeah, like Gak spread over too much bread.
Yeah, this needs to be a movie, because I feel like a lot of the things that we talked about just kind of end up being surface level, because if we really delve deep into the core, they're friends, and we're not learning to become friends.
Yeah.
Because this is in media res, I think a movie makes sense, because this is the movie because it's a movie. The movie is where everything changes.
Yeah, the most
important
day of their lives,
where it's establishing stasis.
That's good. That's a good distinction. Yeah, this is the big major test of the Power Rangers as a team and a friend group.
Yeah.
Biggest challenge yet.
And like, you get to kind of like quip and be like, okay, just this once, for this only one time, this movie at minute 25, when Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed walk into the base.
That's not as fun if it's like a few episodes. It's something about it, yeah, like it being just like for Act 2, they're living under one roof. That's really fun.
Yeah. So I think, does Bisha K. Ali and Jamie Babbitt as writer and
Yeah,
director work for you?
I like it.
Okay.
I think that works.
Well, that's our Power Rangers cast. Shall we go through and see what we got?
Let's do it.
So, Tommy White Ranger is Sholo Maraduena. Did I do okay?
Yeah, great.
Great. Kimberly is Emma Myers. Aisha, the Yellow Ranger, is Storm Reed. Adam, the Black Ranger, is Forrest Wheeler. Rocky, the Red Ranger, is Daphne Keene. Billy, the Blue Ranger, is Jai DeHalo Winstead. Ivan Ooze is Sarah Sherman. Zordon is Bob Odenkirk. Alpha 5 is Jenny Slate. Bulk and Skull are Paul Schreer and Jason Narvi. Dulcea is Rosamund Pike. Rita Repulsa is Ali Wong. And Lord Zed is Channing Tatum. Goldar, the greatest hero of our generation, is Christopher Hivju. All of this will be written by Bisha K. Ali and directed by Jamie Babbitt. That is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
The remake.
The remake. But Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, again.
Again. ... Again.
It's like the Pokemon Snap came out and it was just called New Pokemon Snap. Not even Pokemon Snap 2. It was just called New Pokemon Snap.
New Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
The movie.
The movie.
Yes.
Really happy about our Rita Repulsa twinning.
Oh man, that makes me so happy. Oh, that was so good. Good. Nick, you gonna go watch this movie?
I am gonna watch the hell out of this movie.
Awesome. Thank you for making me revisit this like titan of my childhood.
Same, honestly. Yeah, big nostalgia bomb this morning.
Oh man, so much fun. Thank you. So as we're now at the end of the episode, thank you very much for being my guest. Why don't you tell the world about franchisography, the Doctor Who one?
Yeah, the Doctor Who one is, you know that meme where it's like parent playing with a kid in the pool, and then there's the drowning kid, and then there's the skeleton at the bottom?
Yeah.
Right now, Doctor's Companion is the skeleton at the bottom.
Oh no!
For sure. Like, we haven't even thought about it in like months.
Because it's all been like franchisography on the surface, and then the kid that's drowning is Geek by Night.
Those two interchange.
Okay.
No, Geek, yeah, and because it's like, oh, we have to work on Geek by Night, and then it's like, oh, we can't work on Geek by Night because X, you know.
Yeah.
But the good news is there's a whole lot of back content for people to listen to if they're interested.
Well, the other good news is that franchisography is currently happening.
Yeah, franchisography is currently happening. We're time of recording, we're in the middle of our big Star Trek. We're wrapping up our Star Trek series. It feels weird to even say out loud, but we're finally almost done with Star Trek.
Yeah, I think this episode's not going to be out till May, possibly even June. I don't even know.
Oh, nice. So you already, yeah.
Well, I don't know when I'm coming back because I need to have 2 episodes in the canon done. Then I'll be like, okay, great, I can name it. But this is going to be episode 3 of season 6.
Nice. And then, yeah, I mean, like you're on like Spy Kids 2, I think.
I'm on Spy Kids 2 and Men in Black 3.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a movie I'd never seen. Spy Kids 2 I'd definitely seen.
No, for sure. Another big nostalgic childhood.
Yeah, well, that's the one where, like, that's the quote that I think about all the time. Like, do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
The hardest line of all time.
The hardest line of all time. Oh my God. Like, I did a remake of Street Fighter last year, and it's one of those things where, like, you realize that the day Bison invaded your life was the most important. The day Bison came into your life was the most important day of your entire life. But for me, it was Tuesday, and you're like, this is what it's from. Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, yeah. But like the Spy Kids 2 line, I'd never heard it before. Like, and it just disappeared into the back of my head. Like, cause obviously I heard it, but like it, no cultural consciousness. Mm-hmm. And then just all of a sudden it just hits and you're just like, boom, blown away by this line.
What the hell, movie?
Yeah. No one expected it. It was so good.
We're thinking about that the whole day.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, yeah, always a pleasure, Sam. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah. Do you have any social medias you want to promote, or boo, social media boo?
Who knows? I mean, June, Twitter might have been like nuked from orbit, you know?
And honestly, I for one welcome our nuke from orbit
Twitter
overlords.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nuke Twitter. Hashtag nuke Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see. But in the meantime, you can join the Dueling Genre Discord, which there's a link for it in the description of this episode, and you totally should. And
Yeah.
if you don't, you're missing out. You can also go on to Discord and talk to Nick and I about your favorite Power Rangers moments, because we would love to be thrown back with waves of nostalgia hearing about how Jason came back as the Black Ranger.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Or we want to know about the water aliens who, like, from the water world, the other red ain't. We want to know about all of it. What was your favorite Zord inside a marble?
Remember when they met the Ninja Turtles?
Yes. And I think that was when they like briefly had the female Ninja Turtle, whose name I don't remember.
Yeah, like Artemis or something.
Something like that. Yeah. Oh man, good. If Twitter still exists, you can follow at Sam Gasch, SAMGASCH, or Twitter and Instagram at Ideal Remake. But more importantly, all of these different podcasts that we're talking about, you should go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. It would be rad. So,
yeah.
I'm going to end this episode the same way I end every episode. Nick, what is your favorite quote from the movie The Mighty Morphin's Power Ranger, the movie?
What is it? He's like, so many things I've missed. The Black Plague, the Spanish Inquisition, the Brady Bunch reunion.
Oh, that's a good pull. I love that so much. Good.
Paul Freeman.
Podcast.